human rights and to the rule of law. Canada can certainly support Libyan-led efforts in this regard.
That's the Foreign Affairs Minister John Baird today announcing that Canada is reopening the embassy in Tripoli and freeing up $2.2 billion in Libyan assets. But as Canada strengthens its tie with the incoming Libyan government, an Amnesty International report raises some real concerns. The report says Libyan rebels have committed human rights abuses in the past month. Should Canada be concerned about supporting an NTC government? The interim chargé d'affaires for Libya's National Transitional Council, Abubaker Karmos, is here with me in studio. Good to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
We're also joined in Victoria by the Secretary General of Amnesty International Canada, Alex Neve. Mr. Neve, good to have you.
Hi there.
Let's start with giving some details to our viewers about the Amnesty report. Amnesty report today shows that both the Gaddafi forces and the rebels committed human rights abuses. Here are some highlights of the findings, just to put this on the table. The rebels are comprised of National Transitional Council members. They are engaged in what the report calls a brutal settling of scores, including lynching of Gaddafi soldiers. The report goes on to lay out a set of recommendations for the NDC, urging the NTC to stop all abuses and initiate human rights reformed. Alex Neve, can you just give us any other, how you obtained these findings and any other highlights from that report about the NTC specifically?
Well, the report, which is out today, is our overview of the human rights situation that has unfolded in Libya really over the course of the entire revolution and civil war. And it certainly is not only focused on concerns relevant to the NTC. The majority of the report actually is painting a very grim picture of the human rights violations, grave systematic violations committed by Gaddafi forces. But obviously, as part of that, we're neutral when it comes to the political sides in these sorts of struggles. We have also had an opportunity. Our researchers have been on the ground for months in the country, and as part of that have documented a number of instances of abuses which are either directly attributed to the rebel forces or are instances where we feel the rebel authorities should have taken steps to intervene and ensure that human rights would be better protected. We've released it today now because obviously it's a crucial moment in Libya as the country begins to move forward, and we're releasing it along with our set of comprehensive recommendations as to the steps we feel that the NTC needs to take now to ensure that the new Libya truly will be grounded in human rights protection.
Abubaker Karmos, when you hear this, can you confirm Amnesty said it found brutal settling of scores and lynching of Gaddafi soldiers, again keeping in mind that the vast majority of the report found abuses on the Gaddafi side. I recognize that. But can you confirm these reports? Are they true, these reports about the rebels of the now part of the interim government?
Well, let me start by saying that we at the NTC, we will work constructively and with the report of the Amnesty International. And as I said to somebody earlier, if there is a human rights violation, it's the NTC will not tolerate that. We don't want to see any violation of any human rights. Surely there must have been some isolated cases or individual cases that were not systematically, or orders were given out like what the regime did. You know, on the side of the regime, it was a systematic, it was planned, it was coordinated. Orders were given out. We're still discovering mass graves every day around the country, and if there was individual cases, they will not be tolerated on our side, and the NTC is really doing its best to try to quell this if there is such thing, and we'll make sure that people who are responsible for this will be brought to justice.
Has the NTC identified who might have been responsible for these? You call them isolated incidents. Yeah, have anybody been identified yet?
Well, I don't have names or details of this, but it's individual cases. You know, I mean, the country's been through a war. It's through a revolution. The Libyan people, they rose against this dictatorship, this ruthless regime. Just one of the reasons they rose up is to get rid of a human rights violation that were done by the regime. So we don't like to see even if it's individual cases, people taking the law into their own hands, whether it's reprisal or I know some of the people, they've been subjected to almost unbelievable atrocities. I mean, we talk to friends, we talk to colleagues all over the country, in Musratas and city of Zawiya and Jdabiya, and the sort of force and aggression they were subjected to. And some people, in some cases, they may want to take reprisal or take the law into their own hands. And we at the NC, we don't like this. We don't want to see it happening. We want to stop it if it's happening, and make sure that whoever done it or engaged in such activity will be stopped and brought to justice.
Mr. Neve, again, Mr. Karmos saying these are isolated incidents and that they won't tolerate them. I know there's recommendations in the Amnesty report. What do you make of that response? Does that jibe with what Amnesty found?
I don't think we would say that they were isolated. I think we documented quite a number of instances. I'm not going to say that it was a daily systematic occurrence, and certainly we're not at all suggesting it's at the same scale or level of severity as what was happening with respect to abuses by Gaddafi forces. But it's not just isolated, and I think we have heard some very positive things, and this goes back to May and June when Amnesty International representatives in Libya were able to start to raise some of these concerns with TNC officials in the country. We have heard some positive statements about this won't be tolerated, we will do something about it, but we haven't seen the action yet. And what we need to see is some very clear indications that there's a serious effort underway when reports like this come up to identify the individuals who may have been responsible for the abuses. It doesn't matter how few or how many abuses, the individuals need to be identified, and there needs to be an effort made to bring them to justice in fair proceedings. That's what would give confidence that we're actually moving into a different and better future for Libya when it comes to human rights.
On one other question, Mr. Karmos, today Canada reopened its embassy and unfroze $2.2 billion. How important are those steps?
Well, it's very important to see Canada back to Libya. It was there right from the start, when the whole thing started, and stood by the Libyan people. And it's nice to see Canada back again to try to help rebuild Libya. Libya that we all want to see. I mean, we're talking about human rights, so I'm sure Canada can play a role in that, to set democratic values, human rights value.
And you talk about democratic values, and then we just had a conversation with some MPs concerned because yesterday the NTC leader, Abdul Jalil, said that the basis of a future Libyan society will be Sharia law. Now, that means many different things, frankly, to many people. Will it be a society like Saudi Arabia? Will it be like Turkey? What did he mean when he said a society based on Sharia law?
Look, Libya is a Muslim country. We are Sunni, Maliki, so we don't have different faction or anything like that. It's going to be a moderate Muslim state, and that's what Mr. Abdul Jalil said. It's a moderate Islam. It's going to be respect for human rights, for democracy, for the rule of law, and that's what Libya will be, and that's what we want Libya to be.
Is there any concern at all that Amnesty might have when they heard a society based on Sharia law?
Well, I think, as you pointed out, there are many interpretations, and Sharia law gets applied in different ways around the world. What is absolutely crucial, obviously, is that whatever model of Sharia law may be applied in Libya be absolutely consistent with international human rights obligations. And I think that's all the more reason why it's very crucial now to see the government move quickly to adopt a very concrete action plan for human rights reform in the country. We've put that in front of the authorities today, a comprehensive set of recommendations, and that's exactly what would give the foundation that would ensure whatever legal systems start to develop, that they truly will be grounded in respect for human rights.
And does that jibe with the interpretation of Sharia law? I mean, just some people watching after Canada's involvement might wonder, would that mean full rights to women, for example?
Of course. I mean, Mr. Abdul Jalil was talking in a large crowd yesterday on Tripoli, and he talked about women, and women will have a leading role to play in the Libyan society. He said specifically, he said women will be in a ministerial position, an ambassador's position, and they will play a very important role in the Libyan life.
Well, we're watching very closely a day where Canada unfreezes $2.2 billion, a new embassy opens, Amnesty puts out a report. Again, we remind people that there's still serious fighting going on in Libya, still a very fluid situation, but things moving forward. Abubaker, Karmos, always good to have you, the Canadian envoy for the National Transitional Council here in Ottawa with me. Alex Neve of Amnesty International in Victoria. Thanks, Mr. Neve.
Thank you.